man, I'm excited for this offseason primer. Before we get into the offseason, I do want to shout out a couple players. We've been doing this for every team. We do a team MVP and then kind of an unknown MVP. The MVP is Puka Nacua. I think there's a really, really good argument for Matthew Stafford, but I went Puka Nacua. With his 2,000 yards, it's the most yards in a season, counting the postseason, since, do y'all know who? I assume you do. Cooper Kupp in 2021 when he had 2,425 yards. So Puka Nacua, most yards in the last 5 years. And I also had to do that because it was another Rams player. So just, a little fun tidbit there that every Rams fan knows, I'm sure. But yeah, that's my team MVP, Puka Nacua. Him and Davante Adams worked really well together. So that was a really fun offense to watch. And it was all facilitated through Matthew Stafford, but I wanted to give it to Puka. My unknown MVP. I cheated on this one. It's the entire offensive line because the entire offensive line is unknown. All right? I'm serious about this. So 4 of the 5 guys on the offensive line have been drafted since 2020. So in the last 5 to 6 years, since 2020. Their average annual value in their contracts is 25.4 in their position. So on average, these guys are the 25th most highest paid player at their position. Like that's how they basically took 2 backup offensive tackles because the guys they were expected to start and were paying the big bucks. One of them got hurt, and then I don't think the other one got hurt. I'm not sure what happened with him. I tried figuring it out. I think he just got benched.
He just was bad.
At left tackle, you've got Alaric Jackson, 16th in average annual value. At left guard, you've got Steve Avila, 25th in average annual value. Center, Coleman Shelton, 25th. Right guard, this is the best paid player they have per position. Kevin Dotson, 7th. And then at right tackle, Warren McClendon Jr., 54th. This is an offensive line that's assembled not of like high draft picks or big names. Like these are guys. I don't think any of them are first round picks. I don't recognize any of these names, and I keep up with the draft every year pretty well. I don't think that any of these guys are big names. And they also allowed the 4th fewest sacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
With 29, but they played 3 more games than several teams. So than one team above them. They played more games than everyone that ranked above them. So just a fantastic, fantastic season by this offensive line. And it does fit the unknown MVP criteria because these are not popular. They don't have a Trent Williams on the at left tackle. They don't have a Charles Cross. They don't have the highest paid player at the position. It's an assembly of guys who were kind of unknowns, and it just worked really, really well all season. So that's my unknown MVP. Shout out the trenches and shout out that offensive line for a fantastic season.
This is a good pick. I'd like to give some love to my guy Cam Curl.
Yeah.
Former Washington Commander. I thought he had a really good season. He's rolling back into free agency, potentially make some money as one of the better safeties available. I just want to give him a shout.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Forbes.
I knew that was coming from somebody.
3 interceptions, 18 pass deflections this year. Mainly because he was getting targeted a lot, sadly. But he had 18 pass deflections.
Yeah, we'll just keep it at 18 pass deflections to give no context.
Was technically benched during the NFC Championship game, but that was more of a matchup response than it was him being good or not. Now, wasn't good enough to just be the starter, but they didn't like him in a matchup against JSN or Cooper Kupp or Rashid Shaheed. And, not a lot of guys match up well.
I mean, he only allowed a catch rate of, it was under 60%, which I feel like that's not terrible. It's not great. He did allow 7 touchdowns with only 3 interceptions, which that's not great. But he had a better season than he had in his first year and a half at Washington.
2024 is looking rough per PFF grade.
Yeah. So it wasn't a breakout year by any means, but it was a better year than he's had.
I think he's shown he can hang around on the fringes of a roster, find some playing time.
And maybe he gets bigger, maybe he finally puts on a little weight. What is he still like 140, 150? He is a small guy. He's listed at 180, 6'1", 180. Which that's like, what do you weigh, Jack? Like
160.
160.
So he's got it. Though I'm not sure I trust 180 to be accurate. That seems a little false, but he's bigger than I am for sure.
Anyway, so those are my MVPs. Is Puka Nacua. Did you give who you would have listed? You said Cam Curl. You said
fine.
Cam Curl.
Matthew Stafford's fine in terms of MVP. But I
Yeah,
guess
do y'all hate me going Puka over Matthew Stafford? Because like I do still think Matthew Stafford is the NFL MVP just because MVP like relies on who the quarterback is so much. Like a quarterback's going to win it every year. That's just kind of where we are now as a society. As a sports NFL voters are going to pick the quarterback. But I just wanted to give the shout to Puka. Coaching wise, they've got their head coach locked in. I'm not worried about that. So we'll talk about the coordinators because that's where it kind of gets interesting. Both these guys have attracted head coaching attention across the NFL. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Mike LaFleur interviewed with the Cardinals and spent several days down there and then left without a contract. So while it is, I think that is good for the Rams, given that I think from the reports I've seen, he's still like considered the primary candidate, the lead candidate. I don't think they feel like comfortable yet, and I wouldn't either if my head coach was still being reported as the lead candidate for a head coaching job. If one of my coordinators was. So that's where that is. But also, I trust that coaching staff to be able to find the next guy because that's what he's done for years. You know, his tree, his head coaching tree or his coordinator tree, and the guys that he's sent out has been great. So,
and he's one of those head coaches that's calling plays.
Yeah.
So you're really only looking for an offensive coordinator to help you with game planning.
Yeah.
And maybe some game managing of calls at certain spots.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge need.
Yeah.
Like with the Eagles, with Nick Sirianni and their offensive coordinator needing to be filled. That's who's calling the plays for their offense that was
good point.
Yeah.
inept this year.
So I'm not too worried about Sean McVay and his ability to continue to kind of identify guys and continue to promote from within. At DC, Chris Shula, he's had interviews with I think 5 teams. The teams that I saw were Steelers, but they've hired McCarthy. The Ravens, they hired Jesse Minter from Los Angeles, and then the other 3 are the Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Cardinals. I think he also had a couple other teams reach out that he declined. So he's been kind of shopping around, but is I think now expected to return to LA kind of after that first round of interviews. So once again, no confirmation of that. Interviews and stuff are still happening. People are still looking for head coaches, but I think that Rams fans should feel good about the defensive coordinator returning, and then offensively, Sean McVay will be able to handle that. The big question, and I kind of struggled with when to address this, and I think now is going to be the time because it'll kind of lead into everything else that we're going to discuss, is Matthew Stafford. Will he be back? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure most Rams fans have seen the interviews, and for those of y'all that aren't Rams fans, I'll hit it now, cover it now. Sean McVay was asked in the post-game presser by a reporter, do you expect Matthew Stafford back next year? And he got this like disgusted look on his face. He was like, if he still wants to play, what kind of I didn't put in the rest of it because it wasn't really relevant. He's just like, what kind of stupid question is that? Is basically the gist of what the second half of his answer was. And then he proceeded to say, if he wants to, he's still playing at a pretty damn good clip. To say that, like, if Matthew Stafford wants to come back and play, and he's going to play really well. It's just kind of up to him if he thinks he's done or not. Because physically he still has it. It's just, does he want to stay in the game, or is he ready to hang it up? Stafford was also asked, and he had a much more laid-back response, much quieter. He said, I'm not going to generalize 6 months of my life 10 minutes after a loss. So that's, I think, just to say that he wants to think about it. He's going to have to reflect on it. I doubt that he has an answer, or if he does, maybe he's playing it close to his chest. Maybe he knows 100%. He just doesn't want to talk about it. But that was, I think, at least conveyed that he doesn't know right now. He's got to reflect on it and decide. I'm going to continue as if he's going to come back. He had a very good season. He was healthy for this season. They've got a really good offensive line like I just talked about. All 5 of the guys that started the majority of the games are returning. They've got Puka Nacua coming back. I'll get into their other weapons later, but I'm going to bet on him coming back. They've got a lot of pieces returning on defense. There's a really good chance that he believes that they could make a run to the Super Bowl next year, and I think he could. I think that that's a real possibility. So I'm going to bet on him coming back, and then we'll continue going, assuming that we'll work forward. Do y'all have any thoughts on Matthew Stafford?
I don't see why not. He's going to win MVP. I'll go ahead and say that. Like, he's going to win MVP, and he was amazing this year. And for the large part, the reason they're not playing in the Super Bowl is because they got beat on 2 plays in the Seattle game. The muffed punt, and then the inability to convert on 4th down right there down by the goal line. Like 2 plays changed their season.
Yeah.
And only one of those was in his control. And the one that was in his control, Seattle actually screwed up their play call, and that was the only reason it worked out for them. The Rams were trying to run a flat route to Kyren and turn it into a wheel route, flat and then turn it into a wheel. And DeMarcus Lawrence, Sean McVay at least thinks accidentally dropped in coverage, but DeMarcus Lawrence claims he saw Julian Love was out of position and also dropped, and so they double covered Kyren, and so they couldn't go to their play, and that's why they couldn't convert on the 4th down. But those 2 plays are the difference in them being in the Super Bowl and being a heavy favorite to win the Super Bowl. So I see no reason to not come back.
Yeah.
To be honest, because like if anything, maybe like this year it wasn't talked about enough, but he was every single week he was getting an ejection for his back, and it just was never a story. And we're already seeing some rumblings this year and this week with Drake May in terms of them not reporting injuries on the injury report, which is against the rules.
Yeah.
You have to report it. Maybe there was a little bit of that behind the scenes. Like they're not reporting an injury, but Stafford's getting a back injection every single week, and it was really, really bad. Or it was a ton of work to get geared up for the season. Like those are the only. Yeah. That's the only way like I see it in terms of him not coming back.
If that was happening, we just didn't hear about it?
Yeah, if we just didn't know about it, and it was like his back was really killing him, and it was a ton of work to get ramped up for the season, and now he can't move in the off season without like injections, and you can take injections as long as you want, but at some point, like injections are depending on what it is, but most of the time it's like just to quiet the nerve and quiet the pain, and it doesn't never
it's not
fixing
anything.
the problem.
Yeah.
So if it means like, if I play another year, I could, not be able to walk for my kids in 5 years, then maybe you retire.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I see no reason for him to not come back.
Yeah.
I think he'll come back too. Just he played great. The team's in a great spot. There's a lot of money on the table for him if he comes back. I think he'd have to be pretty cooked physically to not return.
So, moving forward, we'll address free agency first. They've got a couple of big free agents on the team, on the roster right now. I'll go ahead and pull them up here, and then I'll highlight the ones that I really wanted to talk about. A big one is Rob Havenstein. He was one of the guys that I think was supposed to start at offensive tackle, and then ends up getting hurt. And then they have someone else come in and play really well in his stead.
They're starting,
I think left tackle.
and then Alaric Jackson came in.
Yeah. And Alaric Jackson played well enough that I kind of think you just let Havenstein walk instead of paying him $10 million.
And Alaric's getting, I think, like $25 million next year too.
That I doubt it.
I'm
because I was like I said he's what 20? What is he 20?
I'm pretty sure he's under contract.
He's
for
16th
next year.
He might be.
Like he might have, like his extension might kick in next year.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I think you let Havenstein walk. Another free agent, Cameron Curl. I have my notes. Extend him. He allowed 1 touchdown. He had 3 interceptions with 4 pass breakups. Really good season from him. And they've got, I believe, 30-something million in cap space. I think that's right. I hope I read that right. 34 million in cap space. And they're a team like the Broncos, and maybe you'll agree with me more than you did with the Broncos, but I feel like the key is keep the pieces together. Try and bring back Cameron Curl. Try and bring back Davante Adams. Those guys are both do like they're free agents now. So Davante Adams led the NFL in receiving touchdowns with 15. So I think those are 2 big pieces on each side of the ball that you try and bring back. And I think it's a pretty tempting offer because you can like come back and try and win a Super Bowl.
It's pretty easy. Like Davante has already said a couple times this year before even the playoffs that he never wants to play for another quarterback again besides Matthew Stafford. So I think he would re-sign or come back pretty easily. And then Cameron Curl has kind of rejuvenated his career and put himself on the map since leaving Washington. No disrespect. And then coming to Los Angeles. So I do think both of those are pretty easy for them. I wonder for them going forward, are there defensive backs you can find in free agency? Or is that going to be something that they try to address in the draft, which we'll get into here in a second?
Yeah, you said like cornerback?
Yeah.
I can actually pull it up and see what kind of guys. Trevon Diggs will be a free agent. Jamel Dean from Tampa Bay. Eric Stokes from Las Vegas. Greg Newsome from Jacksonville. Tre'Davious White, if you want a much older option.
He's played for them before.
Yeah. Jeff Okudah, a younger guy who has never panned out. So there are some options, but not.
Alontae Taylor is one that is not on there. But he is someone that is going to get a really good deal from leaving New Orleans. So maybe he's someone you could target.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate Jamel Dean either. A very experienced player, but also a pretty good player as well. So that's something they could look to address. I thought about addressing it in the draft, and I'll go ahead and get into what I do in the draft. Mm-hmm. I think I do address it in the draft. I apologize. They
got 2 first-round picks.
They got 2 first-round picks. They do not take a defensive back in the first round.
Okay.
I think a lot of Rams fans are going to hate this, and that's totally fine. I really like it, and I'll get into why. At 13, I've got them going wide receiver. Davante Adams is nearing the end of his NFL career. I think he's in his early 30s, and wide receivers typically do not play this long at a high level. You start to lose a step. And Davante Adams is different. It's more so for speed threats, where when you lose that step, it really hurts you. But a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, Davante Adams, who are a little bit more physical and shifty, it's less about that first. It's a bit less about the movement and more about your or less about your speed and more about your movement. And you are able to keep that a little bit longer. So Davante Adams might still have several years left, but you kind of have to start to prepare for the future. And I think a wide receiver would be helpful in giving Matthew Stafford a third great weapon. And so at 13, I've got Jordan Tyson in parentheses miracle, and I said he had a less productive season in 2025 with only 700 yards and 8 touchdowns. And so maybe we see a slide there. That's the miracle. And then the realistic is Denzel Boston. Denzel Boston is a big threat. He's 6'4", I believe. He had 11 touchdowns, which was the 9th most in college football, 880 yards, and he had 5 games with more than 90 receiving yards and 3 2-touchdown games. So good season at Washington, but physically he's incredible. And we talked about him and Jonah Coleman and Damon Williams being like the trio in college football to watch. And it didn't pan out like that, but Denzel Boston is a very good wide receiver. And maybe he didn't statistically have the season of like an Ohio State. He didn't have an Emeka Egbuka or a JSN or a Carnell Tate season, but he had a good season, and he's a very talented wide receiver. So he's kind of the realistic option. PFF has him on the big board at 20, I believe. So wide receiver at 13 is what I would do. Do y'all want to talk about that now, or you want to wait to hear the rest of it?
I would talk about it. I'd be tempted to do it, but I wonder if they would do it then. If not, wait, because you have guys like Mansour Delane who's sitting there on the board as someone who's potentially available and could be an instant impact piece. And with how much 13 and 12 personnel they ran this year, they used their tight end group a ton this year. I wonder how much a third receiver is of value to them. I think it's a layup if Davante Adams, for some reason, retires or walks.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't lose in the NFC Championship again. It's a joke reason, but something like that.
Yeah.
And he just walks. Then I think it's kind of a layup pick.
Goes to the Chiefs.
That would shock me, given that their cap space.
Yeah.
He signed a $1 million deal.
Yeah. he loves
no
Mahomes
one
that much.
Not even aging veterans sign cheap contracts in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's really an NBA thing.
And that's fair. I will also say that one of their tight ends is due up for an extension. He's a free agent, Tyler Higbee. So
what about like Kenyon Sadiq then? If they really love him that much, some people love him as a prospect in terms of someone that goes top 15. Or if you don't like him that much, maybe he even slides and you could get him with your second first round pick.
I don't think he's gonna. That might happen. That might happen. But
I don't think he's gonna get there personally. But there's a chance.
To 29. I don't think he'll go to 29. I think you could get him at 13, but not 29.
Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if he was off the board at 13.
But they aren't going to do that. They're going to get a different physically gifted player, Taylor Green, Arkansas quarterback. I've been saying this for like 2 months now, and I recognize that Taylor Green is not the polished quarterback. He doesn't have all the experience. He's got 5 years of experience and 4 of them starting. but he's got so many physical traits, his size, his length, his speed when he's running, his scrambling ability, the long strides he has, and he can make a pretty darn good throw. He's 6'6", like I said. His wingspan is nearly 7 feet tall. In 2 years at Arkansas, playing against SEC defenses, he had 5,800 passing yards, 34 pass touchdowns, 20 interceptions, which that's the thing, is the decision-making, the interceptions, with another 1,800 yards on the ground and 16 rushing touchdowns. I like the idea of them getting a first-round quarterback, and maybe the reality is you get Taylor Green later. Maybe that's possible, but I wonder if another team might not key into the same thing. And we might have like a Jordan Love situation where Jordan Love goes a lot higher than people expected. The Packers just kind of come out of nowhere and draft Jordan Love because he's their guy and he's their plan for the future.
Sure.
And I think that the Rams might have the same thought process around Taylor Green. They go, Matthew Stafford, if he comes back for another year, that's awesome, but he doesn't have 5 years left. He's got like 1, 2, maybe 3 if by some miracle he doesn't get sacked for the next 3 years and he just stands in the pocket. And then you look at the other quarterback options, and it's not great. So it's Fernando Mendoza, and then beyond that, you have every player has a question mark. Ty Simpson, what happened in the Florida State game? What happened in the back half of the season?
Yeah, him against pressure.
Exactly. Trinidad Chambliss, don't even know if he's coming to the draft yet. Garrett Nussmeier, was it an injury? Was it not? Why you went back to school and then had a really poor final year? Carson Beck, turnovers in key moments of games down the end of the stretch. He's also old. Cade Klubnik, what happened in your final season? Drew Aller, what happened in your final season? Like, all these guys have questions, and then you get down to Taylor Green, and his questions are just poor decision making. But he's like, I like to think that if you give him to Sean McVay and you put him behind Matthew Stafford for a season, he has a really good chance of correcting those decisions. And then you just have a 6'6" freak who now makes good decisions.
I'm with you, because here's something that really fascinates me.
Right.
You think of like these physical freaks, and sometimes with these physical freaks, like you have a physical freak, but he hasn't produced. Like, think of Anthony Richardson.
Right.
He had just 1 season as a starter, didn't produce. Taylor Green has produced at an unbelievable
Empty calories.
level.
What do you mean empty calories?
Where's the win?
He played for Arkansas. That team around him was bad.
He literally, he took y'all to the brink.
Yeah, sure.
He can't play defense.
Yeah.
I also saw him make plenty of boneheaded decisions in key moments.
Absolutely.
I agree that he made bonehead decisions.
I,
Yeah.
I would not touch Taylor Green with a 20-foot pole in the first round. Second round, sure. But I feel like
I agree.
Third round,
I would
sure.
love to get him in the third round, but I think that my concern is that someone else is going to be like, oh, I'm going to take him in the second round, and then you're stuck.
And that's fine. Just don't take him then. He's not worth it.
I think he might be.
First round is crazy. It is you said Rams fans are going to be upset with this. I'm not a Rams fan. I'm upset for them. I'm getting hot over here.
It's their second
They're
first-round
rightfully.
pick.
They should boo it. If they're at the draft, they should boo it.
Except that this was free. This was a free pick.
So take advantage of it. Get a player that's going to help you. Go win another Super Bowl.
But they've got all the pieces they need to win the Super Bowl. They just need one more thing to go their way. So now they can use that first-round pick to go get them that piece. They can go get Mansur Delane. They can go get Denzel Boston. And then you use the house money, this second first-round pick, to prepare for the future.
And you're taking Taylor Green?
What other quarterback would you rather have?
Give me Ty Simpson.
No, I don't want Ty Simpson.
Give me Garrett Nussmeier.
No, I don't want.
I'd rather have Drew Aller in terms of if you want a physical freak.
I think about Sean McVay, and I think about the quarterbacks he's had, and it's the starters, Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, but then he's had John Wolford and Stetson Bennett and Carson Wentz and
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield started a game. Yes, absolutely. Started a couple games for him.
On 3 days of preparation.
What is he going to do when he goes and sees Taylor Green throw at the combine and he sees that across from him? Is that going to catch his eye? Is that kind of
because he'll turn on the tape and you'll see him throw the worst interception you've ever seen because he doesn't see the coverage right, and that's going to drive him crazy.
You see that physical freak, and I think it'll be kind of. I think it's going to be.
You know what I think he loves about Matthew?
Devil on the shoulder kind of
Matthew
thing.
Stafford,
because
Matthew Stafford does not throw picks.
I think about Kyle Shanahan. He has been successful with one kind of quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo or Brock Purdy, but he did it with Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And he went for a guy who is a physical specimen. And
Yeah.
Trey Lance is not the physical specimen that
He did the
Taylor
exact
Green
same
is.
thing with running back, where he had he had the Matt Breida and the Raheem Mostert, and then he finally decided, you know what, I can do good with all of these running backs, but imagine what I could do with Christian McCaffrey. Maybe McVay gets the same thoughts, like I can do really good with these quarterbacks.
he's never had a guy that can run.
But imagine what I could do. And I need Sean McVay to get a little bit of that toxic relationship where it's like, I can fix them. I see that person, and there's so much great about them, and they've got this one red flag. I could fix that.
If someone maybe could, it probably is Sean McVay. But why not just have two ways to upgrade your team? You're saying they're missing one piece. Go get Kenyon Sadiq at 13, and then take I'm blanking on his name, but the Tennessee cornerback that didn't play much of last
not
year.
Brew.
Gerard
McCoy later
Yeah.
in the draft in the first round. Like, I just...
They had a Brew McCoy.
Yes,
Not
they
to be
did.
confused with Gerard McCoy.
Drew...
Yeah,
He was a
Wide
wide
receiver. He
receiver.
caught a catch.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. So that's...
Avion
I love
Terrell.
it personally.
I'm really glad you like that, JP, because it's a lot more fun when it's 2v1 than when it's y'all two versus
I'll
me.
have all the Rams fans with me saying, what the hell are y'all talking about?
I don't know. Maybe a few of them will be like, they might see it. They might see...
I mean,
Just go, if you're a Rams fan and you're a Pac-12 fan or you're a Big Ten fan, go watch some Taylor Green highlights. It's kind of like I
Watch
said.
full games. You'll see,
No,
you'll see
don't watch
horrible
the-
throws. You'll
don't
see
watch the
missed
full
throws.
games.
You'll
Don't
see
watch
a guy
the full
that
games.
sometimes struggles to be accurate, and he's a guy that has actually played a lot of snaps.
He has played. He's a 4-year starter. 2
Correct.
at Boise State and 2 at Arkansas.
We're not talking about a guy that's a redshirt sophomore flashing these traits. He's played a ton of college ball and is still making brutal mistakes.
Yeah, but he hasn't played for a Sean McVay. Imagine if he'd played for Lane Kiffin. Oh, my gosh.
He played for Bobby Petrino, one of the best offensive minds college football has
there
seen.
you go. Now I was going to make the funny take. Now that you've made a funny take, I'll make a funny take.
Okay.
And look at where the NFC is going anyway with quarterbacks, with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And Tyler Shuck and Jalen Milrow. Like
Yeah, you
got
don't wanna get left behind.
Elite guys coming into the NFC. It's just going to be like the AFC. So why
Yeah.
not go after Taylor Green, who's going to be that guy for you?
Yeah, with your luck, that's going to get clipped and posted as a TikTok. and you're gonna have to
Jackson
deal with
Dart.
the
Can I
haters.
just, real quick, can you go to the position of
9 is literally the NFC.
Oh,
right
do you
now.
want to
I
see
just want to
where
see the
Taylor
big
Green is
board.
ranked? All right, here are the quarterbacks. I'll stop when I. All right, so
Where is he?
He's down at 216.
Sawyer Robertson, Luke Altmaier. He's behind the 5'9" Diego Pavia, which I get this is like one person's big board, but that just kind of shows you how he's thought of. Does they have like a scouting write-up on him?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think that
Dang.
they will eventually, but it's still too.
Man, he played good against Alabama State.
It's still too far out.
Yeah,
he had a
or
fantastic.
Alabama A&M,
He had
sorry.
6 pass touchdowns, I believe, in that game. Go watch the Alabama A&M highlights. I don't think he had a turnover in that game. I could be mistaken, but yeah, that's my bad take, my hot take. Call it what you will.
I like it.
I think it's pretty fun, and I think that maybe it doesn't work out, but also maybe it does. I also have their second round, and I do have them addressing cornerback. Maybe you can be boring and you can go get cornerback in the first round. But they picked 61st in the second round. There's a couple guys here. One guy I love, and one guy is just kind of like, whatever. That's mean, but he's kind of whatever. Keontae Scott from Miami. He had a ridiculous season this year. He's a cornerback. He's a senior. He played at Auburn for 3 years, I believe. But this year, Miami, I don't know how he did it because I haven't watched a lot of his tape, but I box score watched. I went back and looked at some of his stats. He has plays all like in his box score, stats in his box score that don't make sense. He has 5 sacks as a cornerback. That was the most in college football among cornerbacks.
Yeah, he played a lot of nickel.
Yeah.
So they blitzed him a lot.
Yeah, 9 quarterback hurries, 51 tackles, which was 15th among cornerbacks. Yeah, imagine 51 tackles as a quarterback. That'd be crazy. Taylor Green could do that.
Yeah.
But I'll also say this is the first thing you look for when you see a corner with a lot of tackles is you look to see, are they just getting beat and then having to cover up their mess? His completion percentage allowed was under 70%. That's not great, but it's not like catastrophic. It's not catastrophic. So that's what I'll say. 2 forced fumbles, no touchdowns allowed, 2 interceptions, and 4 pass breakups. That's a cornerback that I really like. It's 61. I think he's position ranked in like the mid 50s, so maybe he doesn't get to you. But then a guy that should get to you would be Chandler Rivers from Duke. He's one of those guys who had a good junior season and then goes back and has an underwhelming final year. So his junior year, he had 2 sacks, 48 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 52% completion rate, and then 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups. So I did see the corner need, and I did address it in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And would it if they're not going to go get their quarterback of the future in Taylor Green in the first round, then maybe you can get the corner there.
Yeah. And talking on Chandler Rivers real quick, he played an atrocious Duke secondary his junior year. His kind of dynamic duo member, Terry Moore, ended up not playing basically the whole year because of an ACL
Wait,
injury.
in his senior year or his junior year?
Senior year.
Okay.
His last year, this past year at
Yeah.
Duke. And so I feel like secondary, maybe not the best year, but I think he was asked to do a ton, play out of position a little bit. He just kind of he was a member of a sinking ship in that regard. So I would like that pick a lot.
Yeah.
But they're taking quarterback round 1 instead of Taylor Green, in my opinion. So
Okay.
they don't need Chandler Rivers.
2026 goal. I think it's losing the Super Bowl, because if you look, 2023 they lost the wild card. 2024 they lost the divisional. 2025 they lose in the NFC Championship. 2026 is losing the Super Bowl, and then 2027, year 2 of Taylor Green, is win the Super Bowl. And then you start the Taylor Green GOAT conversation. No, realistically, I think it's win the Super Bowl. You've got a fantastic defensive line with Jared Verse and Byron Young. Interior's Puna Ford. Excuse me. And then in the secondary, hopefully you bring back Cameron Curl. You address cornerback. And then offensive line, we've already talked about. I raved about them. Wide receiver, you've got everything you need. You've got Kyron Williams, who's been good. He's not a Christian McCaffrey, a Saquon Barkley, or a Jonathan Taylor, but he's a good NFL running back. And then you got Matthew Stafford. Like the ceiling is the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. So that's kind of the goal for 2020, especially if you get Matthew Stafford to come back. The goal is 100% to win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. I agree.
Completely agree.
Think
So-
about the run packages with Taylor Green, man.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Why did they lose against Seahawks? Because the Seahawks dropped 9, and shout out 9.
Yeah, shout out 9.
Stafford couldn't run, which he also wears 9. Shout out 9. But Taylor Green wears 10. 10
does
is
wear
greater
10.
than 9.